Hi, I'm Joel from Slow Brew, and I'm going over some of the details on this keg and filling apparatus. So one of the first things to note is that the threading on this is on the inside, as well as this is inside threading. In order to be a sanitary product, the threading on the keg, the part the beer goes into, needs to be on the outside, and then this would be internal threading, so this part would attach. So the basically the threading needs to be the opposite of how this is. The second thing to note is that a lot of these fittings are loose, and they spin, and that's eventually going to cause leakage, and it's going to cause the CO2 to leak as well. Which won't make the beer stay as fresh as long as it possibly could. So I understand that this is designed so that it can be taken apart and cleaned well, but making sure that these had secure fittings, or maybe making larger threads that didn't turn as much, might improve the product. The next feature that we could improve would be to make this so that it doesn't sit in an awkward position, and add it so that maybe the charger simply screwed in from this angle, and then have a smaller regulator that didn't allow adjustments. So for example, put a regulator on the inside that does 4 psi, and that's all it does. So as soon as the cylinder is screwed in there, it immediately regulates it to 4 psi. Now you would want the ability to just turn that off and turn it back on again, because one of these cylinders will do 4 of these kegs. So if you could screw this in and just turn it on and turn it off and have it always regulated at 4 psi, that would be best. The last adjustment I would make would be to change this into a stainless steel tube, because again, stainless steel is going to be considered sanitary and easier to clean, and make sure that the product lasts. Finally, when inserting this into the top, it would be nice if this had an easier way to unscrew it, because you do have to screw it down pretty tight so the beer stays fresh. But then also on this side of it, having it so that there was something to grab onto to tighten it down, so you didn't have to use this to tighten it. Having more of a handle here to tighten it down would improve the design. As of right now, it's difficult to cinch this part down all the way without messing up this part and causing it potentially to leak. I have noticed, though, as it sits in the fridge for 2 to 3 days, that it will begin to leak a little bit of beer out the side. So this whole assembly really isn't completely tight, and that could be improved as well. And the other thing is that I believe it begins to over-pressurize the beer if not used for a while, which is why I think that regulating it down to a consistent 4 psi would probably be best. And I think it would actually be cheaper, if you didn't have to have the regulator on there. It was just a constant regulation at 4 psi. There could be money savings on the gauge itself, as well as the entire apparatus, and I think it'd be smaller and cleaner as well. Because of the over-regulation, the over-pressurization, you end up with the first few pours coming out a little heavier like that. The good news is that after you get it finally tuned in right, it does begin to pour a little bit better each time, but it's still can be something that you have to play with and adjust. And I think if it was a constant regulation, and then we made sure that this was never regulated higher than 4 psi, that you wouldn't have as much foam on the beer, and it would make the product a lot better. So thanks, and I hope my feedback helps. If you have any questions about what I said, just send me an email, and I'll try to address them the best I can. Thank you.